Listen only mode.
Good morning, everybody, and it's another Monday morning coffee chat through the Ultimate Business Support Group. We have had a couple of little techie glitches. Kat's joined us. I'm just going to attempt to unmute her because usually I would just introduce the call, but let's see if I can get this happening so that we can hear her. Kat, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. Can you hear me?
Yeah, beautiful. Excellent. Last minute we sorted it out.
I
I love it.
know.
Good on you. Always on the dot. So I'm just going to do a quick introduction for those people that are brand new to the call, and there's just a lot more joining in. So I'll get you to stick around just there. I won't mute you because I'm now worried that somehow techie stuff
Yeah,
will fail us. Awesome.
perfect.
Awesome. So, guys, those of you that are brand new to the call, we do these every single Monday morning. We often now have special guests like Kat come on and chat to us for about 25 to 30 minutes. So we get our week started and absolutely have a kick ass, as she would say, amazing outcomes, and also gets me going. So I'm being a little bit selfish when I do this as well because it gets me into the energy and the momentum after if you've had a lazy weekend as we did with my husband going away. So interview goes for about 25 minutes, and then at the end we are going to finish off with some logistical things that are relevant to our group. So welcome to Kat. Now I will show you who Kat is. I've got a nice little special slide made from her. There she is. She's just at the other end. And I'm going to do an official introduction because there's so much I want to talk to this woman about, as well as my key 3 questions that I normally ask at the end, that I think 25 minutes is going to be really, really rapidly finished. So let me officially introduce you. Kat Loterzo helps kick-ass entrepreneurs, artists, visionaries, and revolutionary fucking leaders design the business and life of their dreams. Her special gift is in inspiring, motivating, and empowering those who already know they have it all to get out there and take it all, right? Kat is a best-selling author and an internationally renowned speaker, entrepreneur, and coach, as well as the founder and creator of literally dozens of online products and programs. Kat lives location-free with her husband and 2 children. You can see there in the slides, is obsessed with great coffee, great Wi-Fi, great wine, and great training of the mind and body, as well as creating as much content as humanly possible on the topic of alignment and taking massive ass kickery in action. Kat is also an expert in no BS coaching and would love to help you create a business and life you love completely on your terms. And just on a personal note, Kat and I got introduced through a mutual friend probably about 6 to 9 months ago, and we've sort of chatted online, and I have read a bit of her things that she puts on because I really didn't know, that she existed until now, obviously, that I'm in her community and she's been being in touch with us. So it's been great to see someone who's got a different flavor, but also talks the truth. So, Kat, officially welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to do this. I love the concept and the energy that you're bringing to your group here.
Thank you. Awesome. Well, let's get into it because I also am curious about the questions that I want to ask you and what you're going to say. And by all means, guys, if you do have questions, comment either on the Facebook Live that we've got streaming or in the questions and comments box. Hey, Trish, good morning to you and to everyone else that is watching. Okay, so Kat, what does it really truly mean to be you in your business? Like, I know you do that so well, and often people ask me the same thing. How do you describe it? Because I'm sure there's a lot of people looking for that, how can I be completely 100% authentic and me?
Cool, awesome question. I really feel that being you in business, it simply means remove the barriers between business and life. So for me, I've worked really hard over the years to create a business that is truly just an extension of who I am, so that I don't feel that I need to change anything about how I speak or what I think or what I believe or my weird personality traits or whatever it might be in order to show up in my business. So I like to say that I feel that in business, particularly if you are in the business of branding yourself in any way, shape, or form, that there really shouldn't be any difference between the conversation that happens in the boardroom, so to speak, versus in the bar. Now, most of us who are online entrepreneurs and leaders and coaches are not hanging out in boardrooms, but the concept is obviously don't have one separate conversation for how you would communicate with your audience, with your clients, with your peers in business, and then another separate conversation for how you would communicate with your friends, or even in your relationships. And how this came about for me was I always felt like that I had a message sort of within my heart that I wanted to share with the world, and that it did have to do with who I was as a person, not just what I believe in. So the more that I kind of sought to create success in business, the more that I realized, well, the only way for me to step into really living my ultimate dream and doing the work that I feel that I was born to do is really just to give of who I am. And so I started to notice that there was, like a feeling within me and within a lot of my clients and fellow entrepreneurs at the time where it was kind of like worrying about how you were perceived or how to present yourself in order to be successful. And basically I just got fed up. I just got sick of it. I got sick of the fact that, you'd be out there smiling and putting on a pretty face for the world and obviously not making stuff up, but still just really conscious of how you were being perceived all the time and wanting to make a good impression and be kind of quote unquote professional. And then behind the scenes with my entrepreneurial friends and real life friends who are largely entrepreneurs these days anyway, there'd sort of be like more of a casual or more of an unfiltered conversation. And I just made a conscious decision that I was going to start saying in public what I was saying in private, and basically be that person who's just no filter, no BS, whether you hang out with me online or as a hiring client or I'm doing an interview, or whether you come over and hang out and have a drink in my house, it's still going to be the same conversation. To me, that's what business should all be about.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. A couple of people are saying, "Oh my God, you talk so fast." You definitely talk
Oh
fast.
my God, I'm speaking slowly on purpose.
I love it. I love it.
Really I'm sorry. I'll try.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I mean, I can catch up. I'm that type of personality that talks super fast as well. But I guess your passion shows through what you're saying, and I can see that. I've watched a couple of your Facebook lives when I can get a chance, and my goodness, you do bring out an amazing, enormous amount of content. Through your email and through your blogs and all that sort of stuff, which is really cool. Do you want to make a comment a little bit about that? Because I think content is king, and I definitely bring out, my fair share of. I guess my ways has been through the more tangible books, and I'm very high touch. I think the difference between you and I is that you're high tech, and I'm very high touch in terms of how I deliver. How do you cope with, how I actually, let me just rephrase that. How many hours a day would you think you spend on writing?
Okay, so firstly, I am definitely not high tech. I nearly fell off my chair when you said that. I'm the least high tech person out there. All I do is create content all day long. So I produce a daily blog that's about 2,000 words long. I actually write 2 or 3 blogs that are that long. I only publish one a day for my email list and my social audience. I've published over 45 bestsellers on Amazon. I've got over 60 more books that are not yet published. I do a daily podcast, daily YouTube show, daily videos, weekly reality TV show, bunch of interviews like this, and a whole lot more besides. And then we've got more content in the works. So actually, right after we do this interview, I'm going to be having a meeting with one of my team about content and really how much time I spend on writing/speaking content creation is 80 to 90% minimum of my total business hours. And as far as how many hours that would add up to per day, it's very hard for me to say because I don't separate between business and life. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm basically working and hustling 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
But when I say that, I would also say like I'm playing and having fun 24 hours a day because really all I'm doing all day long is what I want to do, which is largely to write and to speak and to create content, and that's all I ever really wanted to do. So now I've created a business designed around that. So I believe I believe that content is king. I believe that a business that's around personal branding in any way, shape, or form needs to be based on content, and that if you just show up and produce high value content essentially 24/7, so to speak, then you can really just not bother about pretty much everything else in business, because even my sales and marketing processes are just content, right? Everything that I do, everything that makes me money is content. And
we have lost
not content, admin, then I have time.
Sorry, we lost you for a second, but you came back. So that's
Hello?
Yep. Can you hear us? Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, cool. We just dropped out for a second, but it's better now. Awesome. That's what I wanted to know. When I said high tech, is just that a lot of your stuff comes through, obviously, on the internet, and I know you do. You recently did like a VIP thing at your home, but being location independent, that has meant reaching, I guess, people through all over the world through the internet. And that's what I meant, rather than say going to every city and sort of being, yeah, I didn't mean, yeah, the techie stuff you can outsource, I'm sure, but yeah, reaching out to people. Awesome. So tell me, how do you find your true voice and message for those of us, those that are listening? You know, I know many of us, I kind of see other people who are super successful and they go, well, she obviously has it, you know, and they see something within us that go, oh yeah, it's easy for them. But how does someone go about finding their true message and voice?
So I really believe that it's already there inside of you, and I think that when people say that they're not sure what their true message or voice is, that what's actually going on is giving themselves permission to be who they really are and to share the message within it. And essentially, probably what's happening is that they're telling themselves that that's not good enough, or that it's not valid, basically, right? And so, you know, it's more of a permission issue and a faith issue, a faith to believe that what you feel inside of you is real, and that the you know, the stuff that you are called to talk about is actually what it's about. I just call bullshit whenever anybody says I don't really know what my message is or what my purpose is, and I don't mean that they you know, deliberately saying that they don't know. I mean, you just have to listen within. I think that you've always known, and it's just a matter of asking yourself, well, if I fully believed in myself, and if I already had a worldwide following and people who wanted to learn from me, then, and they were truly, you know, hanging off my every word, what is it that I would be saying? And then just, you know, go from there. And I guess the big question for a lot of people is, well, how do I turn that into money or into a business? I mean, that's a huge conversation, obviously, but essentially it comes down to believe in yourself and act accordingly, because if you fully believed that you could monetize your true message, then nothing would stop you and nothing would get in your way, and you would spend your every waking hour doing that, and that is what it takes. So if you want to make money for being you, if you want to get rich being you, and make an impact with your true message, it does come down to 100% commitment to doing that all day long, rather than sort of dipping your toe in the water and then feeling like, oh, well, you know, I tried to get my true message out there and nobody really wanted to hear it. And I see that happening a lot, which is very sad.
Yeah. So you see many people start and then give up?
I don't say that I see a lot of people giving up. I would say I see people giving up on being authentically them, and then what they do is they start taking fear-based action, worrying about, well, okay, nobody wants to pay me for being who I really am, basically. Nobody wants to hear me talking about, you know, this deeper stuff or inner stuff, and so then they'll be reactive and try to essentially, you know, sell something that's not really in alignment, that they don't really want to do, or they'll filter themselves, or they'll worry about how to present or position themselves in order to get clients. And so they might make some money, or they might make some sort of a headway, but there'll be a constant resentment and frustration and an awareness that this is not really what I was meant to do. Ultimately, I fully believe that you can't create wealth when you're doing the wrong work. I think that you can only create true wealth from a place of the right service, doing the work that you are called to do. So I understand the trap of being pulled in, you know, into doing stuff that's not really in alignment, but it is a really terrible trap to fall into. I've definitely done it many times over the years, and I just learnt the hard way. And eventually I realized, well, if I say that I believe in myself and that I'm here for a purpose on this earth, then I need to act accordingly. So I don't so much see people give up on being entrepreneurs. I mean, I guess if that's happening, I just don't even notice them, right? Because they're gone. But what I see is people acting out of alignment and wasting essentially a lot of time and not stepping into the leadership role that they're called to, you know, to live by, because nobody's going to follow you for doing work that's not really your work to do.
Yeah, because people can sense a mistake. I think, yeah, people, even if you don't say that it's not your, you know, you're not really aligned with it, people can sense it. And yeah, you only make do and you don't make the real bucks, as we say. You speak a lot about obviously money and getting rich and all that sort of stuff, which is awesome. How do you set and achieve those big money goals? Because a lot of people can look at people, you know, who earn 7 figures plus and go, well, that's just not possible. But I know it is, because I didn't start out 6 years ago thinking I was going to do it. And then as I grew and evolved, it happened. And now in hindsight, of course, I know what I didn't know back then. So maybe for those people who are listening, that kind of go, it's a bit elusive, even just 6 figures for them to start off with. How do you set and achieve them?
It's about having a place for the money to go. I really don't like the idea of setting what I call cool goals. Meaning, like, if people are just setting a money goal for the sake of it, going, I want to make 6 figures or I want to make 7 figures, but there's no real purpose or why to that, that's fairly pointless in my mind. Yeah. I think that it comes down to what is your reason. And, you know, okay, like, it can be material stuff as well, right? I'm not saying it's all about higher purpose, deep stuff, but there needs to be a powerful why. So whether it is, you know, a specific money goal that you have to purchase something or to be able to live some kind of a first-class life, you know, and be a VIP, or whether it's more to do with impact, or whether it's usually obviously a mixture of those things, you know, there just needs to be some reason there. And for me, the way that I set and achieve money goals is essentially based on what I actually want in my life, right? So it's not about, hey, I want to make $1 million or multiple 7 figures, or, I mean, at the moment I'm focusing on 7 figures per month in income. Yeah. It's not arbitrary. It's based on specific things where that money is going to go, and I always write down pretty much daily where my money is going to go, and I think that when you create space for money to flow somewhere, then it will go there, basically. But it's also based on the level of impact and getting my message out there and all sorts of other things as well. So in the end, it does come down to mindset, and it comes down to belief and choice, right? I think that a lot of people are saying, I want to have a 6-figure business or a 7-figure business, but they've not actually sat down and thought to themselves, well, where is that money going to go? Let's say that I had $1 million come in this year, or well, this month, or whatever the goal is. Where am I going to put it? You know, I kind of had this joke, like, imagine if all that money just came to you. What are you going to do? Just like pile it up in your bedroom and roll around in it? I mean, it sounds like fun, and it could make a good picture, but at some point it's got to go somewhere, right? And if you don't know where that money is going to go, then why on earth would it appear?
Yeah, I agree. And often, sometimes I'll develop programs and I'll go, this money is for my Facebook advertising next year. Or when we were buying the new house last year, I was telling my Masterclass attendees last week, I said I created a couple of VIP marketing days at my home because I wanted some new furniture for the new house. And yes, I completely agree. You've got to have a reason and where the money's going to go if you're going to bring it into your life. I love it. Awesome. So tell me, a couple of questions have come through. So they're quite different, but I'll give them to you in one sort of question. How do you handle rejection in the early days? Because most people give up. This is from Wisdom. And then the other person who said, there was another question, how long have you been writing and blogging? How long have you been doing that for? I think for most of your life, I think.
I've been writing since forever. I used to read, this will show my age a little bit, but I guess a lot of people are probably similar age to me anyway. I used to read Harriet the Spy when I was a kid. Yeah. I don't know if you remember those books, right? And then I would model that. So I would have my journal and I would sit in the bushes outside my house as a child, like, I don't know, 7 or 8 years old, and I would take notes on passers-by and make up stories about them. And I was always writing down all sorts of things and, entering all the writing competitions and that sort of thing. But I was always hustling as well. So I used to have lots of clubs well before the age of 10, and I would charge people to be in my clubs, and I would require them to do certain initiations, and they weren't allowed to just get the membership money from their parents. They had to earn it, and they had to bring a list showing how they earned it. And then I would make everybody bake and sell stuff door to door. And I wasn't like a dictator just keeping all the money. I would then throw cool slumber parties and everything for everybody in the club. But the point is, I was always writing, I was always leading, I was always creating stuff, and I was always selling. And I was selling stuff since I was 3 or 4 years old, door to door. And it's this real mix for me of the writing, the speaking, and the selling. All of that stuff has been there within me since as far as I can remember. I've been online since 2007. So I've been blogging online for that long, and prior to that I was just writing a lot of stuff on my computer and in my journals and not publishing it, and eventually I realized, well, I'm going to have to start publishing it. I was published in magazines and that sort of thing, I think, before 2007, but online since 2007, and I've just more and more ramped up the content side of things over the years. But even in the very early days, I did learn and really understand from day one that it was about content, and it was about putting myself out there. So, my business is so 100% a reflection of who I actually am and all that I want to do. All I ever wanted to do is write and speak and empower people to live to press play, as I would say. I always say life is now press play. That's all I wanted to do, and I was doing that since I was a small child, and now I'm just doing it with a multiple 7-figure business and continuing to grow and scale, obviously. Yeah. And then for the other question around rejection, I've been asked stuff like this before. It's a tough one for me to answer, because I just fully believe that you either are that person who's going to get there or you're not. So I've had many failures in my business. I've had way more failures as an entrepreneur than successes, for sure. I've written about that a lot as well, and I've had a lot of things happen that are disheartening or stressful or really freaking scary. Part of my business story is that I was over $100,000 in debt at one point whilst I was figuring out how to get my business working. So I definitely understand failure, and I understand fear and all of those things. But as far as handling, let's say, rejection, it was never relevant for me, because I always just had my eye on the prize. So literally to the point where anytime something's gone wrong, even the really big, terrifying stuff, I've picked myself up straight away the same day. I might have had a minute of screaming or crying or rolling around on the floor in the fetal position, literally. Yeah. But then it was always, right, well, what's next? And this is going to be part of how I learned to be tough. And I recognize that even through the many years that I was broken, struggling, I always knew that doesn't matter, because I knew I'm going to be rich, I'm going to be famous, everybody will know my name. And so what has that got to do with it? For me, it was just, it doesn't matter, because that's not going to dictate my destiny. I know that I'm going to make it, so I guess this will be part of my learning experience. And I was able to see it that way from very early on, and even to the point where I remember one time where my car got stuck in the car park because I didn't have the $17 to get it out, and I had 89 cents in one bank account and $2.89 in another, and all these little bits and pieces in my bank accounts. And I was over $100,000 in debt, and I was trying to keep my head above water, and I had, a newborn baby, and it was full on, right? And what I did, instead of freaking out about my car, the first thing I did was took a screenshot of the bank balance amounts on my phone, because I was already thinking, well, one day I'm going to tell the story, and then I'm going to have that screenshot to prove it, right? So I just think it comes down to, really knowing what you want and making sure that it's in alignment. I wouldn't say I want to be rich and famous if it wasn't what I actually felt called to do. So my goals have always been based on what I feel is my true purpose, and just being absolutely committed that is going to happen. So it doesn't freaking matter how many times I fall over. It's irrelevant, because I'm going to get there regardless.
Yeah, I love it, and that's the attitude.
I love it, and that's the attitude.
I've got feedback coming through. Hang on. Oh. Hang on. I think it's gone. Okay. Hey, Kat, I've got 3 very good questions.
Just for a minute.
I don't know if this is going to get fixed. Okay.
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. We have a lot of feedback coming through at my end. Let me just ask you the question before I get all confused from all the feedback. How do you achieve balance in your life, or is there such thing as balance?
No, just make your whole life exactly what you want it to be.
Beautiful.
I just say screw balance, or usually I don't say it that politely.
Yeah.
I don't believe in the notion of balance because to me that implies that my life is segmented and that it's like, okay, now I'm being an entrepreneur, now I'm being a mother, now I'm being me, or now I'm being a wife or whatever,
Yeah.
right? I just don't have different compartments to my life like that. It all just has to work together. I'm not saying it always does work. It's pretty chaotic, right? And sometimes you realize, okay, there's a particular area that's not getting taken care of and I need to put more focus onto there, but I definitely don't try and have some kind of breakdown of balance. It's just kind of all in all day and everything just needs to work together, and I just set intentions and beliefs that it can rather than worry about how to make it work. Anytime I don't know how to do something or I feel like it's complicated, I just set an intention that it is going to work and choose to believe that it will, and then it does.
Beautiful. Yeah, I'm of the same thought as well. You go in all in and it all gets sorted out, and yeah, there is flow. You achieve flow between life and business, and as long as you love what you're doing, you don't count the hours. So that's what I believe. Tell me, we already spoke about the mental funk question around rejection and all that sort of stuff. I think you already covered that off really well. As my final question, as we come to a close, is there one tool or resource or an app that you just love using that you would share with us as something we should be looking out for or trialing?
I'm really low key from a tech point of view. I'm kind of old school, like I'm a bit of a dinosaur with stuff like that. I hate using things like Evernote and Asana and all these different things that people use. So I really just use WordPress. And then my favorite tool that I do use on my computer is an app called Room. And I think people would like to know about this because without fail, whenever I put a photo up of this, everybody asks, what is that? So it's just a $15 app called Room, and it's a text-based app, and then what happens is when you're writing in there, you can go into a black screen so that your whole screen goes black and you don't see everything behind it. So it just allows, as a writer, it's just writing distraction-free on a black screen, and that's the whole story. So it's nothing fancy, but it's really cool. I've been using it for, I don't know, like, as long as I can remember, and every time somebody sees me put a photo up, everybody's like, what is that? I want to know.
Oh, cool. Can you post up exactly how it's spelled, maybe at the bottom of the live stream, so that we can look
Yeah.
as well? But that's a really cool one. Yeah, I'm the same. I actually recommend physical A4 diaries and a wall planner from Officeworks. Those are my two tools. Like I'm similar to you. I like to write stuff down with my hands and actually to plan. So it doesn't work very well when my husband doesn't know what my schedule is. So yeah. Thank you. You already posted it on
Yeah.
the live stream. Perfect. Perfect. I know you can multitask.
I'm putting a link now, yeah.
Cool. Thank you so
Oh,
much
yeah, for
for
sure.
joining us
Oh,
this morning. I know there has been a couple of questions that went unanswered, but Kat, I think you have so much awesome and valuable stuff and insights that people can have daily from you. So guys, look up Kat, katloterzo.com, or follow her on Facebook. She definitely does share all about her. There's nothing hidden, and it's definitely a no BS approach. I know we share a couple of a few people that are in your community and my community, and I just think everyone needs a few different mentors and models on their journey, and pick out what they like from each, and model what suits your personality as well. So from the bottom of my heart, I just want to say thanks for adding value to our community, and I can't wait for us to reconnect again.
likewise, thank you so much for having me, Natasa, and for the entire Ultimate Business Support community. Thanks for tuning in, and just look forward to connecting further.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And I'm going to put you on mute and wrap up a couple of the logistical things of this call. So have an amazing rest of the day and keep hustling, as you would say. All right, guys. So I've just got Kat on mute. Just a couple of announcements that are coming up. Our Ultimate Business Support live events in Adelaide, Melbourne, and Sydney for August are now scheduled. I don't yet have links for you guys, but You can see the dates here. I'm just going to show them on the live stream as well. We've got in Adelaide the event on the 16th with Sheena Alexander. Melbourne, my hubby Stuart and Eric Chan will host the evening because Jane is having a baby, which is super, super exciting. And Sydney is August 23rd. The next thing I want to tell you is that we did host our third and super, super successful Brand Accelerator Masterclass last week. We had over 50 people there. And the next one is now, oops, that's meant to say October. The next one is scheduled for October. And I know Connie is online and she has already registered for this coming down. We've got about 37 people registered, and we're keeping it to a max of 100 participants. Now, this particular masterclass, it is going to be niched on bums on seats, and my sister from another mother, Francesca Moy, is going to be co-hosting this with me. So far there have been generic Brand Accelerator Masterclasses. Now, our special pretty page is not set up as yet, but the link here that I have got for Brand Masterclass is still valid if you do want to buy a ticket early, so you do get in. So I'm just going to post that in the chat box of GoToWebinar. You can go through there because we'll notice that you've registered and we'll put you on the October list. So the dates here are 26th and 27th of October. Let me just change that as I'm speaking. And Kat's got one quote that I found on her fan page that I wanted to close this webinar with, and this is the quote. If you become the person who does the work, success is automatic. And I thought that is so relevant, and your bottom line is just got to do the work. And keep hustling, getting up every day, picking yourself up when other people would go, no, this is too hard, and you want to give up. So I trust this has been valuable. I will post a recording of this if you did miss some parts of it or internet failed you. That's why we've got the sort of fallback on GoToWebinar rather than just live stream. Elaine, dates were 26th, 27th of October. And I look forward to you guys joining me next week. It might be the last one before I go to Europe. So let's see. I mean, I might do them from over there as well, but we'll see how things unfold. So have an amazing morning, everyone, and a week ahead. Go out and hustle and do the work and connect with people, and success is sure to follow if you do the work. See you guys. Bye.